At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets played the Atlanta Braves in a doubleheader. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, dedicated to advancing cancer research, treatment, and care. More science, less fear. By LG Signature, the art of essence, advanced technology, beautifully designed. By Hyundai, there's no better time to buy a new Hyundai than now. See your local Hyundai dealer or visit buyhyundai.com. And by the State Farm agent of the game, Pat Cawley of Glendale, New York. Contact Pat at patcawley.com. Well, the doubleheader is an anachronism, so we figure we show you some other baseball anachronisms. The ballpark, Oregon, for instance. The old bullpen cards with the hat.
Where's Tug?
The brushback pitch. Nice shot at Duke Snider and Yogi Berra. The manager arguing, the old American League bubble chest protector. Pitchers wearing jackets on the bases. And of course, the mustache. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, who still has a mustache. Juan Darling with you as the Mets play a doubleheader with the Atlanta Braves. The Mets have used 13 different cleanup hitters this year, and this afternoon it becomes 14 with young Phil Evans getting the job in the fourth spot in the order. He's been really good so far.
He has, hitting .308 in 26 at-bats for the Mets, getting a lot of playing time. He's a guy that can play third base, second base, shortstop. A year ago, he led the Eastern League at Binghamton in hitting, and he got off to a bad start this year in AAA, but hit .328 in the second half in Las Vegas. Gary and I had a chance to talk to him in Miami on the elevator. A very self-assured young man, and he is a part of that big mixed bag of the Mets' future.
Hoping that elevator is on its way up. So is Chris Flexen, who came up from Double-A earlier this year, made some starts. He's been in the bullpen the last few weeks, but back in a starting role today.
You know, sometimes when you send a young pitcher into the bullpen, he went for 5 innings, only gave up a run. Sometimes you can learn a little bit about yourself. Well, the team learned that he can throw 94, 95 miles an hour from the pen. Maybe he can get that in a start this afternoon.
Similar to Flexen, the Braves starter Lucas Sims has been back and forth between the rotation and the pen.
Both have the same 12 appearances and 8 starts. His last start against Washington was one of his best.
So it's the Mets and the Braves in an old-fashioned single admission twin bill. Come for one, stay for two. Mets and the Braves, all the action coming your way today on SNY. On SNY is brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. Visit us at titosvodka.com. Mets season ticket plans lock you in for all the big games, including opening day and the Subway Series, plus gives you the opportunity to select your 2018 seating location this November during the online Select a Seat. Place your deposit today at Mets.com/deposits. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. National League batting race coming down to the last week. Charlie Blackmon with a 5-point lead over Justin Turner. Joey Votto, Daniel Murphy, Freddie Freeman close behind as they all vie for a batting title, and in Blackmon's case, perhaps vying for MVP honors as well. It's the Mets and the Braves. Doubleheader baseball at Citi Field. Woohoo! First pitch coming right up. Tomas Nido getting his first big league start, catching Chris Flexen, whom he caught for a good portion of the year in Las Vegas this year. And Flexen getting ready for his first start since the 3rd of September. Here's the lineup he'll face today. Ender Inciarte just 3 hits shy of 200 for the season. Freddie Freeman, we showed you, 5th in the National League in batting, 2nd in slugging percentage, 5th in on base. Tyler Flowers having a good year. Dansby Swanson's had a good second half. The Braves 4.5 games in front of the Mets in the National League East standings.
Well, Chris Flexen from Newark, California, Land Rover numbers. Been in the bullpen for his last 4 appearances. And 14th round pick in 2012.
Ender Inciarte leads things off. 197 hits for Inciarte, the most for a Brave since Andrew Jones had 199 in the year 2000. And Inciarte set to become the first Brave to get to 200 hits in more than 20 years. Corners in against the speed of Inciarte. Flexen ready to start a long day of baseball, and the first pitch is low and inside for ball 1. Inciarte at 307 on the year, second in the league in base hits behind Charlie Blackmon, who's over 200 already. And Flexen quickly behind 2-0, and this has been a big issue for Flexen, walking people leading off innings, walking people in general. 30 walks in 41 2/3 big league innings. And Inciarte pops one into shallow left. In comes Nimmo through the shadows, and that's the first out of the day.
Lexus, Mets defense. Tomas Nido behind the plate. He's a batting champion, I believe, in the Florida State League. Phillip Evans, of course, we touched on him, third base. In the outfield, well, this has been the trio. They're like the Three Musketeers out there. Every day you can count on them.
Which one's D'Artagnan?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, he was the fourth.
That's what I mean. Here's Ozzie Albies. Albies, the 20-year-old second baseman from Curacao, takes the fastball up and in. This is the 50th game that Albies has started since being called up. He's slumped a little lately, just 4 for his last 27, but he's had a very successful beginning to his career at a very tender age. Excellent speed, and Evans in on the grass against him. And the slider from Flexen, 1-1.
Little tiny adjustment for Flexen. He started the season on the first base side of the rubber. He now is on the third base side of the rubber, trying to get a little better angle for that curveball.
Tries to bust Albies inside and misses. 2-1. Grounded foul, and it's 2-2. It's also unusual to see a pitcher with that front foot position the way it is and then not stepping back.
Well, most of them don't step back now. You used to do it because you wanted to get some momentum, and you also wanted to use it as kind of using your legs a little more so you could go a little deeper into the game. Now they just step, and it's almost like pitching from the stretch.
Slowly hit. Reyes comes in to get it and throws out Albies, and quickly Flexen has the first 2 outs. And that'll get Freddie Freeman to the plate with the bases empty.
Back-to-back games now. Victor Robles, so back-to-back teams. Victor Robles, young talent for Washington. Ozzie Albies for Atlanta. We're going to have some good young talent in this division.
Each just 20 years old. Well, here's Freeman, who's having the best year of his career. 5th in the league in on-base percentage, 2nd in slugging percentage. And the foul tip held by Nido, 0-1.
Well, if Freddie hadn't gone down with injury, he would have had over 100 RBIs, really having a Freddie Freeman type of year.
Rolled over to the right side. Dominic Smith makes the feed to Flexen, and a good start for Chris. A 1-2-3 opening inning. Mets will come to bat against Lucas Sims in the bottom of the 1st with no score. spot for the first time. 14th different Mets cleanup hitter this year. Tomas Nido, first big league start. Otherwise, the same unit that's been going out there most days for the Mets coming down the stretch against rookie right-hander Lucas Sims.
Both these right-handers drafted in the same year, 2012. Sims, though, a local kid from Georgia, was the first round pick of the Braves. Has an unusual motion. Watch how he releases the baseball.
Oh, he's a what do you call it? Oh, those guys are like shovers, almost like slingers. Slinger.
Nori Aoki 6 for 14 in the series against Washington. And he grounds one for Albies at second base. Hesitates on the throw and then gets rid of it and gets the out.
He looked at his hand. He must have lost the. I wonder if the way he looked at it was almost like he had too much pine tar on his hand instead of losing the grip. Stuck in his hand.
Now Jose Reyes. Jose had a very proud moment right before the game today. His daughter, his 8-year-old daughter, Jocelyn, sang the national anthem, did it beautifully.
She sure did. Loved her hairdo. Big time. That was a major league do. Look at that. That is big league.
So was her singing.
A proud pop.
Flowers for the performer. That was just terrific. And Reyes bloops one into shallow center and may fall in, but Swanson goes out and makes a terrific play. Dansby Swanson coming out of nowhere to take a base hit away from Reyes, and there are 2 out.
Well, we've seen a couple nice plays by shortstops in shallow center field of this in this homestand.
That one almost came out.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that is that Albies, usually you see both the second baseman and shortstop go out there. He called the jam off early and let Swanson take it.
Cradled it against his body
Very
to make
nice.
sure it wouldn't come out. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Brandon Nimmo homered in the first inning yesterday against Max Scherzer. That's all the Mets managed in 6 innings against Scherzer. It's a really interesting series Nimmo had against the Nats. He had that opposite field double. He had the home run, but he also struck out 7 times in the 3 games. Including a strikeout in a big spot in the 8th inning yesterday. Sims quickly behind him, 2-0. The Mets faced Sims in relief in their series in Atlanta on the last road trip. 2 innings, 2 runs, 3 hits. So a few of these Mets have had at-bats against him.
Well, when they talk about him, they said that he's fearless. He goes after hitters. Good athlete.
19 starts in AAA this year. Averaged over 10 strikeouts per 9 in the minors, but in the big leagues so far, just under 7. Made his big league debut on the 1st of August, same day Ozzie Albies did. Same day Ahmed Rosario did, August 1st.
Against the Dodgers for.
Thank you,
man.
Ron. You through? Are you through? Coors Light defense. Braves. Tyler Flowers behind the plate. Swanson, I think, has got a future. Out in the outfield, Jace Peterson. He's the lucky man of the trio. He's in the shadows out in left field. The other 2 guys are in the sun.
4 o'clock starts, leading to shadowy fields. And Nimmo takes a call, 3rd strike. Side retired. It's been an epidemic for Brandon. 8 strikeouts in his last 4 games. No score after 1. Second inning, Nick Markakis leads off against Chris Flexen. Markakis having his typical Markakis year. On base percentage over .350. He's got 37 doubles, 72 runs driven in.
He's a nice player.
Used to hit more home runs earlier in his career, but now he's more of a single-digit guy.
Well, he was playing in Baltimore all those years, where he got a couple Gold Gloves for outfield play defensively. He's a solid player.
Also had a neck issue right before he came to the Braves. It may have robbed him of some power, but he is an important contributor for this Atlanta team, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the Braves handle their offseason. They have the #1 prospect in baseball, outfielder Ronald Acuna, who they figure was going to be here at some point next year, might battle for a job in spring training. They've got Markakis on one corner and Matt Kemp, who has 3 years left on his deal, on the other corner. Which one moves to make room? Markakis slaps one to third. Evans retreats to grab it. And Flexen's retired his first 4.
Well, I think a lot of the hitters so far that we've seen, both sides, except for Nimmo, of course. He's always very selective and very patient at the plate. A lot of guys are swinging, putting the ball in play. There's a doubleheader. It's a long night, and both these teams are 20+ out.
So you think guys get out of their normal approach when they get into games like these?
I can't believe that a hitter would go up there and not want to have a 4-for-4 day, you know, and just get one foot on the bus, so to speak, and put the ball in play and let's get out of here. I just can't believe that would happen.
Tyler Flowers has had a nice year in his second year with the Braves. Georgia native, spent 7 years with the White Sox before coming back home. Braves have an option on Flowers' contract for next year, which they say they're almost certain to pick up.
Picked up, and they also just re-signed Suzuki for another year.
Yeah, they're very happy with their catching tandem. Flowers hasn't been playing much lately. He suffered a bruised wrist, and it's only his 6th start since late August. Flexen throwing more strikes early in this game. 2-1 to Flowers with Rio Ruiz on deck. And the breaking ball fouled off. 2-2.
Well, it seems like the Mets are real happy with their Darno Plawecki kind of duo. So the Braves also happy with Flowers and Suzuki.
Well, quality catching is so hard to come by that if you have a situation you like, you're probably going to stick with it. Going inside, full count to Flowers.
Loud. The airplanes are loud today. Keith, you'd have a tough day today.
They were yesterday too, Ronnie.
Yes.
We were thinking that the flight patterns might not have accounted for the last homestand. And Flowers down on strikes. High fastball from Flexen for his first strikeout of the day.
Boy, that's nice to see. You know, Flexen's given up a lot of hits, a lot of walks, and to see a swing and miss on a 3-2 count where the hitter knows a fastball's coming, that's good.
I think we've seen that more during his recent relief outings.
Because his miles per hour and his fastball is just a tick up, and he's also, that ball is cutting more than running back over the plate towards a right-hander.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Rio Ruiz. His 36th start for the Braves. He's hitting 200 and he takes a strike. He had a game-winning hit against the Mets earlier this year here at Citi Field. He's just 23 years old. They got him from the Astros when they traded Evan Gattis to Houston.
Well, they've loaded up, haven't they, Atlanta, with as many young players as they could get in those trades when they traded some of their real good players, Gattis and McCann and others, and hoping that some click. You know, if you have enough numbers, a couple of them are going to be all right.
Nice change.
Well, the Braves did a pretty significant teardown a couple of years ago, trading away veteran players and trying to rebuild, and they're getting to the point where they may be ready to contend next year or the year after. Bouncing ball for Rosario, and he throws out Ruiz. 6 up and 6 down for Flexen to start the day. Here's the flight traffic. Can't hear it quite as well. Newly minted cleanup hitter Phil Evans leads off in the home second against Lucas Sims. And first pitch swinging, pops one up near the mound, and Sims gives way to Freeman. One pitch and one out for Sims in the second. Here's your Verizon trivia question. Aaron Judge today hit his 49th and 50th home runs. New Major League rookie record. Who were the two players who held the record before McGwire? McGwire hit 49, 1987.
I think you and I have it, because you named one and I named one, and you thought you were right and I thought I was right. Or maybe they're both right.
Maybe neither one of us is right.
that happens a lot too.
We'll hold that in abeyance. Here's the thing about Judge setting the record today: 50 home runs. He did it on what would have been Phil Rizzuto's 100th birthday.
Wow.
What do you think Phil would have said?
Wow.
Would have said, "Holy cow!" You ever hear Phil's call of Maris's 61st home run against Tracy Stallard?
How did it go?
There's a lot of holy cow in there.
Oh, really?
But it was really well done.
Well, the second one, did it come before the sixth inning?
You're saying he wouldn't have been there. Dominic Smith yanks one foul.
Right into the Mets dugout.
There's a lot of bodies in that dugout these days with September call-ups.
Gesellman's pointing that way, brother.
Straighten it out.
The other way.
Everybody appears all right. The thing about Maris's 61st, much like Judge's today, I mean, that was a makeup game. I don't know how big a crowd they had in the Bronx. They played Kansas City. But when Maris hit his 61st on the last day of the season in '61, there were not a lot of people in the ball.
Right.
I mean, there were a whole bunch of people sitting in the lower stands in right field waiting for the home run ball, but there weren't very many others.
People, I think, forget that there was a time where even, good. I mean, that ballpark was so big also, right? 60,000, close to 60,000 people. But baseball was popular, but not as popular as it is today as far as fan participation.
Well, there was a time when drawing 1 million fans for a season was a big goal.
When I played in St. Louis, it was a big goal to get over 1 million. The Dodgers were always #1.
The Mets' first season in 1962, playing at the Polo Grounds, they drew less than 1 million fans. So just
you had
for perspective.
The day games back then, people have to work during the day on the weekdays.
Doing 0-2 to Smith, who's been struggling lately, just 3 for his last 27.
Did you see Atlanta in their first year in their stadium? $2.5 million they drew.
Nice, good for them,
right?
And that was up significantly from the last year at Turner Field.
I don't know that, but I was surprised by the number. I thought that number was very significant for them.
3-2 coming, and he struck him out with a changeup. Lucas Sims with his second strikeout.
Got to really hear how Dominic felt about swinging at that 3-2 changeup out of the strike zone.
Been a little out in front. He's angry at himself for chasing.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Ahmed Rosario had a hit in all 3 games against Washington over the weekend.
This game can get under your skin.
And slider off the plate from Sims. 1-2. The air traffic.
Well, Sims likes the slider, throws a lot of them.
Two coming. Past the mound. Swanson there to sweep it up. And the throw gets Rosario by a stride. Each pitcher has started the day 6 up and 6 down. We go to the third. Mets and Braves, no score. Experience with the MLB.com at Bat app. Get New York Mets home screen icons and app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat today. Third inning, no score. Dansby Swanson leads off against Chris Flexen. A couple of 23-year-olds going head to head. Flexen, who was a 14th round draft pick in 2012, and Swanson, who was the #1 overall pick coming out of Vanderbilt in 2015. Talk about trades that enhance your ball club. Shelby Miller to Arizona for Dansby Swanson and Ender Inciarte.
Whoa. Yep, nice trade. Arizona, despite being the wild card winner, they could have used Swanson this summer, right? All the injuries they had to Nick Ahmed and Chris Owings.
Slowly hit. Evans near the bag, and he can't make the play. It's a fair ball, and Swanson's the first base runner of the day. Evans, the ball, and the bag all arrived right at the same time. And Swanson has an infield hit.
Yeah, got to be a base hit here. Probably a little distraction with the base, just over the base. Swanson runs well.
So first time either pitcher will have to pitch out of the stretch today. Jace Peterson hitting 8th in the order. And Kemp's been laid up with a hamstring problem. He can pinch hit, but he can't play, and so Peterson getting some reps in left field.
Kemp hurt his hamstring against the Mets in that first game. Remember, he was chasing all those balls in left center and over his head, and
yeah, the time he had to brace himself against the fence to slow down. It was kind of a telltale sign something was wrong, but he's had hamstring problems repeatedly the last few years. And when we talk about what the Braves might do in terms of adjusting their outfield for next year, it's hard to envision a scenario where they're going to be able to trade Kemp's contract despite his production the last couple of years.
There'll be plenty of teams that would take Nick Markakis, I'll tell you that.
Markakis has 1 year left on that 4-year deal that he signed with the Braves.
Yes.
Peterson hasn't hit much this year against the league, .214, but he's hitting .375 against the Mets.
Well, Flexen's been trying to dart that inside corner against the lefties. He's just missing.
Flexen, who made his major league debut in late July in San Diego, now making his 9th big league start. And the curveball, and that one gets away from Nito. Was it a foul ball? It was. Plate umpire Andy Fletcher making the belated call.
Flexen started his career the same way Steve Matz did. First hitter faced, home run.
That Manuel Margot?
Yeah, you got it.
1-2. Got him looking. Fastball on the outside corner. Second strikeout for Flexen, the first out of the inning.
That has a nice little run to it. His stuff in this game has been the best I've seen since he's been up as a starter. Maybe that bullpen really served him well. You know, we have to remember he came up from Double-A. That's a very unusual thing, and I think this winter, all young pitchers can say, hey, you know what? I got a few hitters out. I did some good things, but you have to do it for a longer period of time.
Now the pitcher Sims looking to sacrifice, bunts it foul.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have moments as a young pitcher, and you say to yourself, okay, I know I can get big league hitters out. I just have to be able to do it over 5 and 6+ innings. Got to eliminate those big innings.
Well, Flexen was the first Mets starter in 11 years to go from Double-A to the big leagues.
Big pelf, right?
You wonder sometimes when a pitcher gets jumped like that, it can serve him well because he's had the big league experience now, but do you lose something in the development side?
Well, the thing you're going to lose is probably the hard part for him is that he's going to have to go from the big leagues this year and a lot of experience back down to probably AAA next year if the pitchers are healthy. But you know, the whole thing for any team is depth, right? So he's gotten some great experience. If he has to start the year in AAA and gets off to a great start, then you know what you have, and he's maybe the first guy up if you have an injury.
Well, as the Mets have learned this year, there's every chance you might have an injury.
We got to prepare for it.
I'm a very positive person.
You are. Gary and I are very negative.
Let's just say realistic. 1-2 to Sims. He's still showing bunt. And he bunts one back to Flex on a play at second.
Oh, nice.
And off the bag comes Rosario, and Swanson is safe.
He had him if he makes the right throw. This is the right play, but the inaccurate throw. Let's see how Rosario was straddling the bag here. I mean, he's got him. He makes the good throw.
And they're going to check it. They're thinking that Rosario still kept his foot on the bag despite the throw that was awry.
And I think he might have. That toe may have still been on the bag. Swanson didn't slide, which is the other piece of that. Mets have made early challenges now several times in the last few days. They lost one early in the game yesterday, but this one they might win.
Swanson's coach in Vanderbilt's going to be very unhappy when he sees that play.
It's like never assume. You know what that means.
He assumed that the pitcher was going to first base.
Exactly. And you know, you can look over your shoulder here as you're running.
That's a good play by Rosario.
I think he's on the bag.
That's going to be an out. Play under review brought to you by Mazda. Driving matters. Joe West made the call, and he's on the headset along with the home plate umpire Andy Fletcher.
How many years for Joe West now? Jeez.
He is he's the current dean.
Wow.
Of big league umpires.
I remember when Joe came up, still had that little rojo in him.
Well, in his defense, and I haven't come to his defense very often, but in his defense, that play looks like it's safe, you know, because it's such a bad throw, and the shortstop is coming off the bag. It just looks like it's a bad play.
Gary Cederstrom's crew and Field & Culberth's crew are in the replay center in Chelsea this week.
Come on, guys, speed it up. Here it is again. Well, yeah.
And the call is reversed. Mets win the challenge.
So a nice play, nice aggressive play from Flexen, and a nice reaction and from Rosario.
So it's a 1-6 fielder's choice for the second out. Sims will run it first. Smith will play behind him. Ender Inciarte the batter. Keith, Joe West made his major league debut September 14th, 1976.
76.
Became full time in the big leagues in 78.
So he was a September call up.
The spirit of 76.
That's the year that the first good turnaround of my career right there. I don't know. I try to remember what crew Joe was with when he came up. I want to say, oh, I can't remember.
Well, of course, most umpires, when they first get to the big leagues, are used as vacation replacements. They didn't have as much of that back in the 70s.
No, they did not. Not at all, as a matter of fact. I wonder if it's with Paul Runge's crew when he first came up.
Inciarte flying to left his first time up, and the curveball hit out to center. That's where Lagares patrols, and that retires the side. Leadoff single against Flexen, works through it, makes a nice defensive play to boot, and we have no score at Citi Field as we go to the bottom of the third in game one of the doubleheader. Inciarte trying for 200 hits, 0 for 2 today, and disgusted. Who had the rookie home run record before Mark McGwire, the record that was broken today by Aaron Judge. Wally Berger and Frank Robinson. Those are our guys, Ronnie. I had Berger, you had Robinson.
All right, good. That's very rarely happens.
And that was the National League record, 38, until Cody Bellinger broke it this year. Bellinger's he's got 39, right? He hasn't gotten to 40 yet.
Yeah, I don't think so, no.
All those home run records are getting broken this year.
Well, the overall record has been broken and is being obliterated as this final week begins. Juan Lagares leads off against Lucas Sims, who's retired the first 6. Lagares went 4 for 12 in the series against the Nationals and goes after a first pitch slider, 0-1. Lagares, Nido, and Flexen for the Mets against 23-year-old Lucas Sims out of Snellville, Georgia. Snellville.
Jeez.
Well, the Braves have had a habit of drafting and developing players from the Atlanta area. That one gets away from Flowers.
That's right.
And Sims was a huge Braves fan growing up, big John Smoltz fan.
I mean, they do it about as good as any other organization, right? Draft within their area.
Well, it's a pretty good area for youth baseball. With Lagares trying to bluff a bunt with Ruiz playing back. I mean, if you're a California team, you're going to have plenty of good baseball players in your backyard.
You think Florida, both Florida or organizations should have a lot of drafted players.
So I just found out who was Joe West's first crew. John Kibler, good crew chief.
Behind home plate in Game 7 in the 1986 World Series.
A good guy, good temperament. Pulley, Frank.
Yep.
Oh,
temperamental. Good man.
Up the middle. Swanson can't get it. Lagares has the Mets' first hit.
And the final umpire, Nick Colosi. I forgot all about Nick Colosi. Fastball hit right up the wickets. What do you call it, Garrett? Right up the what? Through the wickets? Through the 5-hole, whatever the heck it is?
Well, that's to the side of the guy's side.
I forget. There's just so much. It's the season is just kind of all crumbling in my brain right now. This final week.
We got a lot more innings to go, my friend.
Keith has a shortbread cookie for a brain. Tomas Nido takes a fastball for a strike. Nido getting his first big league start. He had a big year in Single A last year. Won a Florida State League batting title. Didn't hit nearly as well in Double A this year. Batted just .232. He's 2 for 3 so far in his major league career.
You have to watch Sims. He has quick feet and an outstanding pickoff move.
Nido smacks one to center, but right at Inciarte. And that's the first out. Lagares back to first with 1 away. And now Chris Flexen, who has 2 hits, does not yet have a sacrifice bunt. Likely will be asked to lay one down here. I want to know who was on Joe West's crew the day that he threw our cameraman Al Freeman out of a game. Did you know that story?
What? I don't know that story.
Let's just say that you know, Joe sometimes takes the rule book into his own hands.
Yeah.
And Al got caught up in a little conflagration.
There's Al.
I mean, he looks so harmless, doesn't he?
Well, he looks like a little ladybug.
Never seen him in long pants ever.
I see no spots on his back, Keith.
I don't know. It just came up, Al. It percolated.
What's funny about Al is that he runs the camera without ever touching it. Did you notice that? Every time we show him, he's not touching the camera. How does that work?
Oh,
beautiful bunt by Flexen. No interference. And Flowers gets the out at first. 2-4 on the sack, moving Lagares along to second.
Ladybugs are good luck, you know.
I know they are. You know how when you were a kid and you ran into ladybugs, You know, kids can be cruel and squash ants and all that. Never a ladybug. You saw a ladybug, you always were very gentle to give. You got in the car, you always were very careful to give them to walk up your fingernail and then throw them out. Just kind of give them a gentle flick and get them on their way.
Ladybug, ladybug, fly away home.
That's right.
Well, that's what Joe West told Al. Can't wait to hear the story.
We'll have to get Gelbs on the case.
Okay.
Here's Aoki with a runner at second and 2 out. Grounded out his first time up. Takes the slider low and in for ball 1.
Aoki has very good plate discipline. For you Met fans that have been watching here since he's joined the club, you are at home right now watching. You can know that he doesn't swing at a lot of bad pitches. Got a good eye at the plate.
21st game as a Met, hitting over 300 since putting on a Mets uniform, and he flies this one out to left. Easy for Peterson. And that retires the side. Leadoff hit. Lagares left stranded. We're through 3 in game 1 of the doubleheader. No score. No score. These two rookie right-handers both acquitting themselves quite nicely over the first 3 innings. Flexen and Sims each has allowed just 1 hit. Ozzie Albies leads off for the Braves in the 4th. He grounded out to Reyes his first time up. And he smacks one to deep right field, headed toward the stands, and it's out of here. Off the facing of the Coca-Cola corner, Ozzie Albies breaks the ice with his 5th major league home run. An emphatic shot that puts the Braves up 1-0. So the 20-year-old Albies opens the scoring. Thusly.
Ooh, fastball down and in, and he turned on it.
Right off the Ian player.
That's some serious pop.
Freddie Freeman cranks one foul. Did he catch that ball?
Yes, he did.
Nice grab.
Down and in for a left-hander. Not recommended. Drop the barrel. Very little follow through. Just a flick of the wrist.
10th home run that Flexen has allowed in 45 big league innings. Freeman, who grounded out to Dominic Smith his first time up. And Flexen misses low with the fastball. 3-1 to Freeman.
Interesting. We're seeing more and more elite hitters around the league choking up just ever so slightly.
Joey Votto was at the forefront of it. The high changeup. 3-2.
Barry Bonds had an awful lot of success with it.
Yeah, but nobody copied him during his
I understand.
era. Now all of a sudden it's spreading the way it did not when Barry was doing it. And the breaking ball gets him. Flexen with a slider, strikes out Freeman, his 3rd strikeout of the day. 1 out in the inning.
It's almost like Freddie waited too long. That was late.
Tardy.
On a breaking ball. No, I was thinking about Barry. I never asked him, and I'll have to if I ever see him. I always thought the reason he choked up is because he probably was at home, and his dad would bring home bats that were way too big for him, and he would choke up just so he could hit with it.
Makes some sense. Then every son of an ex-big leaguer should be choking up.
Well, it depends on what era you were brought up in, how much money your dad made.
Markakis gets jammed and pops one up. Evans should have a play. And that's the 2nd out. So Flexen's gotten the next 2 after the Albies home run. Your Spectrum high-speed pitch is Flexen by a deuce. So Chris has settled back in nicely after the Albies home run. Now Tyler Flowers. Flowers struck out his first time up.
Just the precision of Flexen is noticeable. His ability to keep it on the corners as opposed to in the middle of the plate. Very good today.
That's hit out to left center field. Circling over is Nimmo. Flowers retired. So are the Braves. Leadoff home run by Albies opens the scoring. 1-0 Atlanta as we go to the bottom of the 4th. For Puerto Rico at Citi Field. You can drop off items Tuesday or Wednesday, tomorrow or Wednesday between 4 and 7 p.m. and on Thursday and Friday between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Visit Mets.com/hurricane relief for more information. Mets down 1-0 as they come to bat in the bottom of the 4th. Jose Reyes popped up into shallow center, and Dansby Swanson made a nice play to retire him in the first. And Lucas Sims misses with a slider for ball one. Reyes, Nimmo, and Evans for the Mets in the fourth. And Sims' changeup is outside, 2-0. Ninth big league start for Sims, just as it's the ninth big league start for Flexen.
Yeah, a lot of symmetry between these two guys. They also were in the bullpen for 4 appearances. Try to get things straight.
And that's outside ball 4, and the Mets have a leadoff base runner for the second straight inning. Well, game 2 of this doubleheader comes up directly after game 1, about 25 minutes between games. The pitching matchup later today, Seth Lugo against the rookie left-hander Max Fried, no relation to Dave. Tomorrow night, Rafael Montero against R.A. Dickey, and then Wednesday night, Robert Gazelman against Sean Newcomb in the final home game of the season for the Mets. So the Mets are facing 2 rookie starting pitchers in the doubleheader today. Nimmo slashes one the other way for a base hit. Reyes pulls in at second, and the Mets have the first 2 men on to the fourth. So Nimmo, after getting called out on strikes his first time up, goes up there aggressively, this time against Sims.
First pitch fastball hitting. He jumps on it. Very nice. Brandon?
Well, just smart hitting, Keith. Anytime a pitcher with a leadoff walk, that means that he wants to throw a first pitch strike to the next hitter. Invariably, it's usually a fastball.
So first and second and nobody out. Phil Evans hitting cleanup for the first time, gets a cleanup type of situation. He popped up to the first baseman on the first pitch he saw from Sims in the second.
You can see the physique of Phillip. He is a very, very strong, kind of stocky build, very strong in the legs, waist down, very strong. Tucks that front elbow.
Flares one, caught by Ruiz, and the runners both get back. Good base running by Reyes and Nimmo as that ball hung in the air, and Ruiz able to make the diving grab for the first out.
Well, that's a play right there. If he can't get to it, the shortstop's got him backed up. You have a double play on the two lead runners, because they had to hold. I mean, you can't see this. I mean, Reyes does everything properly. That ball drops. You got an easy third put out, and look at Nimmo. He's got to get back. That would be a rare what? Oh, he'd have to run to third, wouldn't he?
Well, that's the reason why the infield fly rule exists, right? I mean, it doesn't apply there because the ball wasn't hit high in the air, but that's why you have an infield fly rule to prevent that kind of base running confusion.
Now, question: if say the ball dropped,
or short hopped it,
or he short hopped it, and the third baseman Ruiz goes, because Reyes now he have to run to third for the force out. There goes Reyes.
Throw to third by Flowers. Reyes is out. Jose, who has been stealing a lot lately, gets caught stealing third for the second out. And Nimmo held first.
Well, you never I don't think you should try to steal third with a left-hand hitter up, because there's no impediment to the throw. Yep, he got him. So my point, Gary. No. Short hops the ball.
Right.
Instead of getting Reyes,
goes to second.
Reyes doesn't have to advance.
He can go back to second base once the force is on.
Correct.
The other choice you could do is to throw the ball to first, and then you've got 2 base runners who are kind of in no man's land.
And again, a rundown. Those are the things you got to think of on the fly right there. Those aren't what you would call plays that you can rehearse with drills in spring training.
So you can't short hop it and Ruiz run to second base, tag Reyes first, and then step on second base.
If you can get there in time.
Yeah.
I think Reyes would be back safely. I would think the best thing to do is hope that Reyes doesn't know the rule and then tries to advance after you get the force out.
Smith goes after another changeup, 1-2.
I bet there's a lot of players that wouldn't know you can hold there. And you have that Mickey Mantle example in the World Series.
1960 World Series.
Yep.
Where he dove back into first after, was it Rocky Nelson made the play at first base?
Correct. The Pirates series.
Sims struck Smith out on a changeup his first time up. Comes up and in that time. 2-2. Ahmed Rosario would be next.
Showed Yogi and Duke Snyder in the open, so maybe it still exists, the brushback pitch.
Dom didn't have to contort quite the way Duke Snyder did in that shot. 2-2 coming. Fastball just missed inside, full count.
His best fastball of the day there, 94 miles an hour by Sims, just missed. But that's all to set up the changeup here, 3-2.
Well, we'll see if Smith is as vulnerable to it this time. Nimmo will be running with 3-2 and 2 out.
Oh, he almost balked. Sims was tripped going back off the rubber.
And he gets him looking again. This time he threw him a slider, and Smith is out on strikes for the second time. Promising inning. Mets are turned aside. 1-0 Atlanta. In 1976. In 1984, he met our buddy Al Freeman, and Steve Gelbs has more on the story.
Well, Gary, this has been 33 years in the making, this interview. It's an exclusive that I've been working on for all my time here at SNY. But this is Al Freedman, and to our knowledge, he is the first camera operator to ever be thrown out of a game by Joe West. Al, I'll let you tell the story, but please focus on your work. Don't be too distracted.
Yeah, that will be. Well, there was a play at the plate. The Mets thought he was safe. Joe West thought otherwise. Bobby Valentine was, I think, a base coach at the time. And he came over to see the play. In our camera, we can show the...
You can show the program in the viewfinder of your camera.
Yes. So he came over, looked at it. I showed him. He thought he was safe. Ran out to Joe West. Told him he saw the replay. And then Joe West came towards us. and he kicked me out of the game.
Follow the ball. That's all right. Follow the ball. So Joe has kicked you out of. Do you remember what he said to you?
I just think he pointed and I was out of there.
Al, you didn't argue?
No, I did not. Bill Webb was directing.
So Webby was directing. Keith was playing in that game. We saw on the highlight reel. Did he say anything? I mean, did he stand up for you at all?
No, not at all.
Now, what happened to Bobby Valentine? Was he ejected from the game too, or just you?
It had to be 84.
84, yeah.
I mean, it was a long time ago.
I forget.
I don't remember all the details.
Did you have hair back then?
What's with the hair stuff?
Al, Bobby Valentine got thrown out of the game and tried to come in, sneak in with a mustache. Did you attempt a disguise to come back in and finish the game?
No, I did not.
So, Al, were you startled that you got thrown out?
Yeah. I mean, I got kicked out.
So what did you do, though? I mean, you get thrown out. You got nothing to do. Where did you go? What did you do?
I stayed till the end of the game, and I was living in the city at the time. And I actually saw Joe West on the 7 train back to the city.
No.
That's funny.
That's funny.
And he said it was the reason why he kicked me out. It was unfair advantage to the home team.
Absolutely, yes.
By the way, the
Yeah.
Al I know would have just gone off and had a snack.
Well, Al, I've been given some information that you can corroborate or dispute that you stayed because you were scared of Webby more than anything else.
That was true too. It was my first year. So
It was your first year?
Rookie first ejection.
I was a rookie.
Did you get a fine from the commissioner's office?
No, I did not.
Al, before we let you go, these guys give you a hard time quite a bit. I mean, now's your opportunity if you want to say anything about the job they're doing.
He's glaring at me.
Right move.
Yeah, I know.
Right move.
Oh, boy.
Well, thank you, Steve.
That was a good one.
Thank you, Al.
Oh.
Thank you so much. My career is complete right now.
Okay.
Steve's report was brought to you by Bud Light. One other note about that game. It was May the 9th, 1984, and Ronnie probably didn't know about Al getting kicked out of the game because he pitched that day.
Really?
Yeah. You win 6 innings, allowed a run on 5 hits. Mets won it 3-1. Dansby Swanson at the plate, had an infield hit his first time up. Ruiz on first after a leadoff walk, and Flexen gets a strike. Now, this is from that game. Now, this is the relief cameraman. At least that's what we're told. We're thinking maybe it was Al in disguise, but that's Joe West.
Wow. Very dismissive by Joe. Seen that many times. You know, we kid, but you know, Al Friedman is as good at his job as anyone who runs a camera, and he spends all of October doing the most important games that baseball has to offer.
Al, don't let it go to your head. Ron tells us how great we are, too.
And we don't believe me either.
So I vaguely remember that. It's coming back to me now. I do recall.
Really?
Yeah, I totally forgot all about that. Because Al was a rookie then. I wouldn't have been. That was my first full year.
That was my first full year with the Mets.
So, shoot. So, Al, you started out down in lower first, on the dugout. You were the one putting the camera on me smoking the cigarettes.
Oh, that was him. That's right. Who shot down the top.
Now I'm really hot. Because that cost me $100.
Swanson out on strikes.
Under directions from Bill Webb, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
To catch you.
Yes. Thank God I don't smoke anymore. That was the wisest decision I ever made.
You think you're happy? How about us?
Oh, can you imagine if I couldn't, you know, the rules, I couldn't smoke up in the booth now.
Well,
I've been down that road before.
Yeah, I know you have.
It was Jace Peterson who took a call third strike his first time up. We'd have to have you cited.
Well, can you imagine when it was McCarver and Ralph? They were both cigar smokers.
that's right.
That had to be pollution.
But together at the same time.
That's what precisely what
it's
I mean.
the other people in the booth who had to take cover. Ruiz at first with 1 out. And Peterson grounds 1 to first. Smith to second. Rosario back to first. 3-6-3 double play. As beautiful as they come.
Very well done.
Dom Smith starts and finishes the double play for Flexen to get him through the top of the 5th. We are halfway through. 1-0 Braves. Your local Ford dealers, it's SUV season at your local Ford store. For big savings, go to buyfordnow.com. Ford 5th inning recap. Ozzie Albies with the home run in the 4th inning. The only run of this game. Chris Flexen and Lucas Sims have been terrific so far. Ahmed Rosario leads off the home 5th and takes the curveball strike from Sims.
Interesting in a 1-0 game. Third baseman Ruiz playing back. Rosario with all that speed. Just giving him the bunt.
We haven't seen him bunt much for base hits. I guess until it's in the scouting report, they're not going to play in.
I think because of this guy's slinging, you said, short arming, whatever you want to call it. Ball seems to jump on the hitters a little bit.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
Rosario, did he go? He did. Strike 3. Flowers slaps the tag on him, and that's the first out. 4 strikeouts now for Sims.
This young man's throwing a nice little ball game.
Well, Sims made his first start in his return to the rotation last Wednesday against the Nationals, and he pitched really well in that game. 5 innings, 1 run, 3 hits. He had made 4 relief outings before that start, much the way Flexen had made 4 relief outings before his start today. And Flexen has responded well, just as Sims has. Lagares had the first Mets hit, a base hit to center field leading off the 3rd, and takes a fastball for a strike.
It's funny, when he gets to the top of his windup, he kind of leans to his right. It's very interesting. Before he delivers the pitch, kind of gets a little better angle against the right-handed hitters. See that little lean? How he kind of just leans like into Lagares' shoulder.
Breaking ball fly down the right field line. Markakis toward the corner, reaching, and comes up empty. Foul ball. Sidewall gets on you in a big hurry once you cross the line.
You know, most pitchers are taught to stand as tall as you can. But when you watch Lucas Sims, as soon as he gets to the top, watch him just lean to his right, just ever so slightly. I think that helps kind of hide the ball and help him with that slider. That's his best pitch.
Got a good balance to do that.
Yeah, you do.
Topple over. Up the middle, and Lagares going to the same area he did the first time is 2 for 2.
Another way to go, Juan. Juan got 2 hits last night. Juan's on a little bit of a roll here.
6 hits in the last 4 games now for Lagares.
Again, I said it before, and I'm sure they have a mini scouting report on Sims, but he's got an outstanding move to first if Lagares is thinking of stealing.
He's only given up 1 stolen base through his first 13 big league appearances. Here's Nito, who lined out to center field in his first at bat. Fouls the fastball into the ground. Tomas Nido, born in Puerto Rico, grew up in Florida, still has lots of family in Puerto Rico, and he was expressing a lot of concern about his folks down there. He's not going to be able to go back to Puerto Rico though after the season ends because he's going to the Arizona Fall League.
He's another one of those guys. Look at the front foot, how bent he is, very squat. It's like he's truncated almost. Sawed off at the knees, so crouched.
Lagares started and stopped.
Almost, that's the start. So he's got a big little leg kick, but it's a very tense stance where he starts, and it works for him. Listen, he's a batting champion in A-ball. I don't care if it's A-ball. He's got a batting. He's got a batting championship. Pointing backwards on that angle. Who was the hitter that did that so accentuated in the National League? I forget. That has that accentuated front foot pointed back, almost. It's like it's pointed towards the on-deck circle. I can't think of who it is.
I know Julio Franco used to do it when he played for the Mets, or played for anyone. He really had that foot pointing almost backwards.
So there are a lot of hitters that are very successful that aren't rhythmic, and Anito's not a rhythmic hitter. To be so squat as he is and so widespread and so, I mean, he just sits down at the plate. Look at that. It seems to be very tense, a lot of pressure on the legs, a lot of
like Bagwell sitting.
Yes, it's a good call, Gare. That's outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, Bagwell had that almost seated position.
Yes.
So he's so strong, like you said, Keith, in your legs.
You know,
I would, over the course of the season, being a catcher, of course, doesn't have strong legs. But over the course of the season, you got to continue to make sure you keep that same height, right, that level, when you squat in that position.
Oh, he's a catcher, so he's going to be strong on the legs. He's got a little bit of a hitch too, which I haven't got an issue with. It's something my dad would not let us get into a habit of doing when we were kids. If we hitched like Willie Mays, who had a big hitch, Dad put a stop to that in a New York minute. Or
long hold by Sims. Lagares runs. The throw by Flowers, a good one, and Lagares is out. And Flowers is 2 for 2, throwing out base stealers today.
boy, I'll tell you, right on the money. And Juan tried to give you the oop-de-doo there. Tried to pull the hand back and get it back in.
Almost worked.
The old okey doke.
Is that what it's called, Gary? The okey doke?
I learned that from Willie Randolph.
I thought it was the do the hokey pokey.
See, he's already got the tag into the midsection.
Yep.
Does Albies.
Heck of a throw by Flowers.
2-2 to Nito with 2 out and nobody on, and takes the curveball for strike 3 call. 5 strikeouts for Sims, and he gets through the 5th inning. 5 scoreless for Lucas Sims, helped out by his catcher Tyler Flowers. 2 for 2, threw out Reyes in the 4th, throws out Lagares in the 5th. 1-0 Braves after 5. Batting stance before the science of baseball, brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. More science, less fear.
Well, the only thing peculiar is we talked about the front foot. See how it's pointing backwards, and his squat position like Bagwell. But once he does that lift with his legs, it loosens up and it's a normal swing. So that is just his way he likes or was taught his stance. But once he lifts that leg, it's all eliminated. And he's fine. It was a nice swing he put on the ball there, just got under his bat.
Do you think the turn of the foot maybe is to keep him from stepping in the bucket?
I don't think so. I think it's a balance thing, so you don't lunge. I could be wrong. I think that's terrible. Sorry, folks. Anyway, your balance is on the inner half of your heel side of your foot. You know, so when you stride, you're not striding flat-footed or on the other side where you can sprain your ankle. That you're on the kind of the inner sole on your heel side, and you drive off the same thing on your back foot, and that gives you the balance. So we don't want to lunge. So I can't think of the player that has his foot like that, so extreme, accentuated, but it just seems put a lot of tension in the stance. But whatever works.
2-2 to Lucas Sims. Ender Inciarte on deck. Toward the middle of the diamond, and Lucas Sims has his first major league hit. So the Braves pitcher, who had been 0 for 13 to that point, picks up his first one, and the Braves will get that baseball and take it out of play.
Right off the thumbs, but it's a base hit.
I don't know how he got the ball up the middle. It almost took his 4 fingers off. Oh my God! Watch this.
That's why I say he thumbed it out there.
Oh, he inside outed it. We were wrong. The old inside out got more of the barrel out on it. Look at it, he's all fired up.
Was rooting for that ball to get up the middle. So now Inciarte, who has been up twice and flied out both times.
Pretty good pitch there.
Flexen, for the most part, has been throwing strikes today, getting ahead. But it's the second time today he's fallen behind 2-0 on Inciarte. He was able to retire him in the first inning after falling behind 2-0. Smith playing behind the runner Sims at first. And that misses. 3-0. Flexen, who came into the day walking 6.5 per 9 innings, has only walked 1 this afternoon.
Well, he came in the game with more walks than strikeouts, which is alarming for a young pitcher. But I think what you'd see early in his starts is that if the umpire missed a call, it really would affect him in that inning. So I'm anxious to see if a missed call maybe on the 1-0 pitch, if he can get through this inning without giving up a run.
Here's a strike, 3-1.
Just got to run a little sink up there and keep it away. Hope he tries to pull it and roll it over into a DP.
Three-one coming. And he goes to the off-speed pitch and misses ball 4. Second walk given up by Flexen. The Braves have the first 2 men on in the 6th. We check in with the studio. Doug Williams as a game break brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealer. All right, Doug. Mets have the bullpen cranking. Eric Goodell and Josh Smoker getting ready. Dan Worthen out at the mound talking to Flexen, who's only thrown 73 pitches. He's thrown as many as 104 in a big league game this year.
Well, I just think, it's become a breaking ball off-speed league. I've said it before. 3-1, 2-0. You can bet the house. Well, I wouldn't recommend that. That it's going to be a secondary pitch. And Flexen's not, with the walks, as Ronnie said, to the ratio of strikeouts. He's a young pitcher from Double-A. It's a tough call for a young man. He needs it out. Now he's first and second, nobody out. Those call it changeup, his third pitch.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't do that either. And you also have to know who's coming up. The Thunder is coming, so you have to take a chance on challenging Inciarte.
So now it's Albies who is responsible for the only run of this game. Banged a home run off the facing of the second deck in right field in the 4th inning, his 5th home run. Evans playing in at third, thinking Albies going to be bunting, but he's ready to swing as he takes the changeup outside.
Might be the last time anyone plays in on Albies.
It's a dicey pitch right now for Flexen. He's got his back up against it here.
So he's been able to keep his pitch count down today, no more than 15 pitches in any inning, but now having trouble throwing strikes and behind Albies 2-0.
When you're in these kind of situations, you go to what's going to give you the best chance. And that's a fastball, little sinking away. You hope that the hitter tries to get big and pulls it. Then you get yourself a double play.
3-0. So many times we see this 6th inning, 3rd time around the batting order. Even with a low pitch count, it just seems to change everything for these young pitchers. And he walks walks Albies on 4 pitches, and that loads the bases with nobody out, with Freddie Freeman coming up, and here comes Terry Collins.
It's because they have them on limited pitch counts in the minor leagues.
That's right.
Not used to having to get through a lineup 3 times.
I agree with you 100%.
So 5 good innings for Flexen, but in the 6th, a single and 2 walks, loading the bases with nobody out, and Flexen is done for the day. Josh Smoker will come in to face Freddie Freeman. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. 1-0 Atlanta in the 6th. We'll be right back to Citi Field. Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Love that slow motion water. Josh Smoker, 3rd time in the last 4 days.
Well, the last time he appeared in the game, I think the Mets used 9 pitchers in that game, didn't they? On the 23rd, 2 days ago.
Freddie Freeman bats with the bases loaded and nobody out. Freeman 0 for 2 today, 1 for 4 in his career against Smoker.
Let's see what Freddie's approach is going to be here.
First pitch slider well off the plate. Ball 1.
That puts Freddie in the driver's seat with the sacks intoxicated.
Sims the pitcher at 3rd. Inciarte at 2nd. Albies at 1st with nobody out. And Freeman goes after the slider, and it's 1-1. Freddie hitting .375 with runners in scoring position, 3rd best mark in the National League. Crowds him with a fastball, and it's 2-1.
I know it's not the truth, but it only seems like the truth. Doesn't it seem like Josh Smoker comes into the game with the bases loaded more than more than any of the other relievers?
Oh boy,
And
3-1.
now he's behind 3-1.
So 3 breaking balls, 1 for a strike, 1 fastball missed, and there's Terry Collins with his Davy Johnson act for Rolaids number 141 here.
Great spot for Freeman. 3-1 coming. Broken bat bloop. Rosario reels it in, and the runners get back.
Got to run it in.
So a huge out for Smoker as he breaks Freeman's bat on 3-1 and gets the first out of the inning.
Boy, I bet you Freddie's hot here. Pitching his count in his favor. Fastball's coming, and he got him inside. Oh, he's going to be hot.
So that's the first out of the inning. And now Markakis, another left-hand hitter. He's grounded out and fouled out 0 for 2.
I'm noticing that Josh Smoker has been throwing more breaking balls to left-handers. He's an over-the-top power pitcher, fastball. He's got a changeup. That's his third pitch. He sprinkles in, but he's been throwing more sliders as he become more comfortable.
Markakis swings through the fastball, 0-1.
You know, Keith, he's got enough on his fastball, so all he has to do, but if he learns from his brethren in the bullpen, Jerry Blevins, he's got to have a breaking ball he can throw for a strike. He's got to have one he can throw out of the strike zone. Once he masters that, he can pitch forever.
I think so.
Well, you'd have to think in that regard that being in that bullpen most of this season with Blevins has to have had an impact.
Oh, I'm sure. To me, it has. I think Josh is in a much better place than he was before, trying to use 3 pitches, using a lot of that changeup, even against left-handed hitters. I like him with that good gas and a hard slider.
Markakis slashes one. That's a fair ball over the bag. It'll hit off the tarp. Sims is in. Inciarte will score as well.
No, we got to throw second base.
And Markakis has a double. Well, Nimmo didn't realize that he had to play at second base, but Markakis drives in a pair, and the Braves lead 3-0.
Well, he wouldn't have had to play, but he ran into the umpire, Livensparger. That's why Markakis had a hard time getting a second.
So Markakis was looking for a breaking ball, something away there, right over the bag. Excellent hitting. Here's the carom. That is just perfect hitting. Not enough, too much of the plate, number 1. But that's just good veteran hitting. Look at the third baseman on the left, way off the line, Nick Evans. Here's the carom now, and Markakis is a dead duck if Nimmo throws to second base.
He wouldn't. Yeah, watch him run into the first base umpire, though. That's why he didn't get there.
Oh, get out. Oh, my gosh. What would have happened if he's thrown out at second base?
There's no call.
Yeah, you're out.
Well, that's an embarrassment.
Part of the field.
Jeez, come on, Get out of the way.
Tyler Flowers has been intentionally walked to fill the empty base, and that brings up the left-hand hitter Rio Ruiz. With the bases loaded, 1 out, 2 runs home in the inning, and he flies one out to center. That'll get another run home at least. Lagares back onto the warning track, runs it down. Albies tags. He'll score the 3rd run of the inning. Sacrifice fly for Ruiz makes it 4-0 Atlanta. And so Smoker has come in with the bases loaded, and all 3 of his inherited runners have come home to score.
Interesting how this game works, right? Just a little sawed-off base hit from the pitcher started the whole thing running.
That's right, Ronnie. You're right.
But it's the walks,
yeah, of course,
Flexen, that will stick in his craw. So the book is now closed on him. Flexen goes 5 innings plus, 3 hits, but 4 runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, a home run. 1st and 3rd and 2 out. Dansby Swanson, the 8th man to bat in the inning. He's 1 for 2 on the day.
You know, Gary, people talk about all the time, maybe in today's game, it's the 2, 3, 4 hitters you have to take care of. It really have to make sure that the guys before them do not get on base. That changes the whole dynamic.
Well, the flip side of that is it's why you put your high on base percentage guys in those first 2 spots. You look at Inciarte and Albies, each with on base percentages over 350. They both get on, and the inning proceeds.
But as a good pitcher, there's a reason guys are in the 7th, 8th, and the pitchers in the 9th hole. You have to take care of those guys. They're meant to be outs.
Are we getting away from the sabermetric of putting your best hitter like Stanton with Miami in the 2-hole, Gary? And in the National, I can see it in the American League without the DH. With the DH, excuse me. But are we getting away from that in the National League?
I don't know. Stanton is pretty productive hitting second. Chris Bryant.
Well, Joe Madden, of course.
Anthony Rizzo when he's in second.
Well, Joe Madden did it, especially 2 years ago, because he batted Addison Russell in the 9th hole and the pitcher 8th, because then Russell could, be another.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it still seems to me that if you're hitting second, you're going to get up in the first inning, and you're not going to have an RBI chance the great majority of the time. Without hitting a home run.
By the way, Stanton will be in Colorado trying to go on his quest for 60.
Two coming, and Swanson strikes out on the slider to end the inning, but not before 3-run score, all charged to Chris Flexen. That is the default for 2017. Flowers, let's check in with Steve.
Gary, as good as his throwing has been today, what Flowers has really come to be known for is his pitch framing. One of, if not the best pitch framers in the game. And listening to him talk about his technique is really fascinating. You can watch it right here. He starts by flashing to the pitcher where he wants the ball. And you'll see in a second he rests the glove on the ground and then picks it back up. The point of that is to have the glove be rising into the zone to catch that ball wherever it is, rather than, like most guys, trying to stick that ball and really dropping your arm and bringing it back into the zone.
What do you think about that, Ron? Do you, would you rather have a catcher hold the target for you, all the way?
I've never heard that. That's a great report, Steve. I've never heard of a catcher doing that. Because he wants to work just like the first baseman when he's trying to pick it, work from the bottom to the top. It makes total sense if you don't have a pitcher who wants to have a target to be able to pick up when they come into the plate.
I guess the question is, how does lifting the glove like that into the zone as Cicchini strikes out as a pinch hitter, how does that help influence an umpire to call a strike that's not a strike?
An umpire, if he sees the glove going up from bottom to top, that looks more like a strike than if the catcher catches it and his hand drops a little bit. If the catcher's hand drops, they never get that call.
You're talking about a ball toward the bottom of the strike zone.
Bottom of the strike zone where you go to catch it, and because of maybe it's a nasty pitch, you catch it and your hand drops a little, they never get that call. So it makes sense, but boy,
Well, it's interesting the difference in techniques, right? Because Travis d'Arnaud, who is also a terrific pitch framer, doesn't have the statistics that Flowers does, but he's always been up in the rankings. He'll hold his glove at the bottom of the zone and gently snatch the ball without moving the glove at the bottom of the zone, and he gets calls that way.
Well, what's interesting is that I don't know this, but I know that Travis is from Lakewood, California. Watch, drops the glove and then works from the bottom up. And a catcher I had in AAA, Mike Fitzgerald, was from Lakewood, California, and that's how he caught. Kept the glove low and snatched the ball up at the very end. I wonder if Travis ever worked with him. I'll have to ask.
Well, when I was growing up as a kid, my manager, along with my father, was a minor league catcher, and they always taught our kids not to do exactly what Flowers is doing, dropping the glove. Always hold, because you never know what might happen. It's extra movement, but so whatever. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
But you always have to change depending on your catcher. Now, when Gary Carter came over, I had a hard time because when he sat on his haunches, he was so tall, so his target would be literally thigh high, which is a bad place for most pitchers to be. So what I would do is I would ignore a kid's glove and I would throw to his shin guards. So the top of his right and left shin guards, that was my aim.
That is very interesting. It's similar to me focusing on the top half of the ball. If I'm under the ball, I'm going to focus on the top half of the ball. If I foul back 3 or 4 pitches, I got to make the adjustment and overcompensate. That's interesting, Ron. Very good.
Aoki strokes one down to third, and Ruiz's low throw picked out by Freeman. Nice play by Freddie for the second out. Talk about moving bottom to top.
Nice footwork. Easy backhand. Short hops are always the easy ones. Good footwork by Federico.
Like Fellini?
No, I think like Varela.
Varela, yes, our season ticket holder.
Yeah, our 5-run in an inning guy. That's lined into right field, and Reyes has a base hit, and so he's on base for the second straight time. Very little's gone right for the Mets this year. I mean, if you think about it on a production basis, Federico Varela has had the best year of any Met.
Yes, he has. That was a huge inning, and no one was more excited.
I enjoyed having both those gentlemen on our broadcast out there.
So well spoken and had so many great
well,
stories.
they just had a history, a Met history behind them.
I want to take a day off, Keith. We'll get those guys. Come on in.
I think we should do it next year. I think we should continue to do that.
Well, we have to do it outside if we're all here because otherwise the high chair comes into play.
Right. Well, we don't want to let them in the press room.
I was just thinking of Ronnie.
Yeah, the high chair.
Out to the back of the
Ronnie. Ronnie gets always inconvenienced.
Well, one of us could sit back.
Well, he has to defer to age, and I'm the senior in here.
I go by a length of time, so you guys have more time on camera.
Yeah, but your season's longer.
Yeah. This kid's got pretty good stuff. I'm impressed with him.
Lucas Sims, first-round draft pick out of high school in 2012.
Nice changeup, good slider.
Nimmo had an opposite field hit his last time up, 1 for 2 on the day. See if Reyes runs on 0-2. Doesn't look inclined to. You can always tell when Reyes wants to run, and you can always tell when he has no intention of running, which I don't think is necessarily a good thing.
It's not a good thing.
It should probably look the same way all the time, right?
You should. That would be a tell you'd pick up straight away.
Nimmo drives one to center, and Ciarte right there. That retires the side. Hit in one left after 6, 4-0 Braves. Backdoor cut by the guy who made the basket.
Very nice. I haven't seen a backdoor cut like that since Princeton.
Let's take a look at the road ahead presented by GMC. We're in the last week. That thing at the top, that's already over. So final week of the season. One more game to play today.
Look at Ronnie bailing on us Saturday and Sunday.
Jace Peterson leads off against Eric Goodell in the 7th inning.
Let's see his numbers coming off an appearance in Miami. He's owned right-handers all season long, but did not in that inning of work.
In fact, it was an historic outing. Not the kind of history you want to make, but Goodell gave up 3 home runs. He only faced 5 batters. No pitcher in Mets history had ever faced that few batters in an outing and given up 3 home runs. He broke Bob Apodaca's record.
Bob must have been hanging that curveball that day.
Well, Dak had a day against the Phillies in 1977 when he faced 7 batters and gave up home runs to Bake McBride, Mike Schmidt, and Jay Johnstone. In Goodell's case, he faced 5 batters and gave up home runs to A.J. Ellis, Miguel Rojas, and then Giancarlo Stanton. There's no shame in giving up a home run to Stanton. Lots of people have done it.
But Ellis and Rojas.
Well, there's no shame in giving up home runs, period. They happen.
Not this year. Everybody's doing it. But that many that quick, and a drive by Peterson to deep right center, and that ball will short hop the wall. And Peterson pulls in at second with a leadoff double.
Another lefty and a pitch down. Inner half. Good balance right on it.
By the way, speaking of Bob Apodaca, apparently he did not like to face you, Keith.
Why?
9 plate appearances, 1 hit, 5 walks.
How many plate appearances?
9. 5 walks.
So one for 4. He pitched around me, a little backdoor curveball has. He always tried to sneak
but you
it
got
in.
on base 6 out of 9.
Oh, that's right.
That's the high on base percentage.
Bob was a breaking ball pitcher.
Sims up there to bunt, and that one trickles foul before Nito can get on it. Sims picked up his first big league hit his last time up. That was the catalyst for the Braves' 3-run 6th inning. Singled up the middle. Flexen walked the next 2 guys. Smoker came in and allowed all 3 inherited runners to score.
Dominic way in on that right side. I like it. Put the pressure on the pitcher.
That one goes foul. Sims tried to sacrifice in the 3rd inning, and Flexen made a nice play and got a force at second.
Ron Washington at third base. Make him bunt again, Wash.
It's really easy, isn't it, Wash? It's really hard. It's the best line of that whole movie.
Oh, that's right.
And curveball sits high, 1-2.
Moneyball, of course, when they were asking Ron Washington, the catcher Scott Hatterberg, if he could go catch and just become a first baseman. It's easy, right, Wash? Oh, it's really hard.
1-2, and Goodell misses. 2-2.
Texas this year out of the playoffs, and they had their golden run under the reign of Ron Washington. 1 out away, 1 pitch away.
Well,
I thought when he managed
fair ball. Smith bobbles it and still gets the out at first. Almost lost a play anywhere. He took a peek at third where he had no chance to get Peterson.
really was too good a bunt. He really deadened it nicely. Oh, just the exchange there.
So funny, and every time you look up and don't look the ball into the glove, it always comes out.
That's why they teach the good fundies.
Yeah, that's right.
Infield comes in. Inciarte the batter. 0 for 2 and a walk. And he drills one to deep right field. That'll go over Aoki and up against the wall. Peterson in to score. Inciarte has his 198th hit of the year. An RBI double to make it 5-0 Atlanta. And Goodell not giving up home runs, but getting hit hard again.
On his fastball.
You know, it's interesting. I think when he had his best moments, Eric, is when Terry Collins would bring him in for 1 or 2 batters, and he would come in and throw that good curveball, good split, mostly breaking pitches. But when he has to get through a whole inning, he's got to use all 3. You get hurt, like Keith said, by the fastball this afternoon.
I think also earlier this year we were seeing 93 on that fastball, and now we're seeing 91.
Yeah, he's dipped on his velocity. That's what I've noticed. And the hitters have been just covering his fastball too much, which is a sure sign that you're not throwing as hard. And it says 91 on the radar there, but I'm very, very suspect of that.
Well, you know, 91 at this point in the evolution of pitching, as Albies lifts one to center and Lagares is there. Inciarte tags, going to try for third, and he'll make it. That's the second out. At this point in the evolution of pitching, 91 is sub-average.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the average major league fastball, which 20 years ago might have been 88 miles an hour. Now it's 92.
That's right.
I still say the new way that they're doing the gun out of the pitcher's hand, I think it's all relative. To me, it does not look like, and I've watched a lot of baseball on the field. I've been up to the plate on TV. I just find it hard to believe that Goodell's breaking 90 miles an hour.
Here's Freddie Freeman, who's 0 for 3, and he golfs one foul. Well, they definitely have changed the way they are operating the radar gun this year compared to last year. They're getting it closer to the actual release of the ball rather than 5 or 10 feet in front. So that's added about a mile an hour this year to everybody's velocity.
Yeah, so it's all relative, really. I mean, what was 88, what, 20, 30 years ago or 10 years ago is 91 today. So you just, it's a new metric. I go, that wouldn't be the right word. What would it be, Garrett? Just a new standard, whatever. Barometer. I won't think of any more.
Good stop by Nito. That prevented a run and prevented Keith from looking for another synonym.
The whole game always has been, it doesn't matter what radar gun you use, is carry. When you release the ball at 95 and it comes in at 90, well, the guys who throw 95 and it comes in at 93.5, well, those are the guys that have that velocity carry.
Right, and that's the guy who appears to have the rise in his fastball because it's not settling the same way an average fastball will.
Well, atmosphere and gravitational pull is what takes the speed off the ball.
Two to Freeman. And the splitter is low and away, full count. Markakis would be next. And the curveball drops in for a call, third strike. Goodell found the top of the zone. Freeman strikes out for the second time today. Braves cash another run, lead 5-0 at the 7th inning stretch. Home 7th inning. Phil Evans leads off against Lucas Sims, whose longest big league outing was 6 1/3 innings. He starts the 7th at only 79 pitches and throws ball 1 to Evans. Evans is popped up and then a little flare to the third baseman in his first big league game as a cleanup hitter. Only his 5th major league start. And takes the slider inside, 2-0. Sims has thrown as many as 106 pitches in a big league game. Dom Smith on deck. Ahmed Rosario behind him. Nobody up in the Braves bullpen. And a fastball strike to Evans, 2-1. Lucas Sims, 23 years old. Might have gotten to the big leagues a little faster had it not been for a bus crash when he was in Double-A in the Braves organization. It was a really scary incident. 4 o'clock in the morning, bus crashes right near the Georgia-South Carolina border, and he missed 2 months as the result of his injuries. There were a number of other players. Nobody was, hurt in a life-threatening manner, but those are the things that always concern you with sports travel. Evans draws a walk. That's the 2nd walk that Sims has given up today, and the Mets get the leadoff man on in the 7th. And now Dominic Smith trying to fight his way out of a slump right now. He struck out twice today, 3 for his last 29. Braves continue to run the shift against Smith, as the Nats did in the last series. We're seeing this more and more with Dom.
It's like the National League East is doing it more than other teams.
Well, we've talked about Smith and the fact that it does look like he's trying to lift and, and pull more than he might have when we saw him in spring training. So it's got to influence the way teams try to defend him as well.
Well, you're down 5 runs, so you need base runners. So if he throws a little running fastball away from you, I mean, I know it's not that easy.
Well, here's the deal. In 2017, as he flies one out to left, and Peterson is there, 1 out. If you're a left-hand predominantly pull hitter in 2017, 2018, 2019, you better learn how to lay down a bunt. I mean, you need to learn how to square, push a bunt between the mound and the third base line, and get yourself an automatic hit.
You see the Cubs do that all the time with Rizzo and Schwarber. I just think that, I'll give you an example. 2 players that played for the Braves, Mark Teixeira and Brian McCann. They were 300 hitters until the shifts came into play in their career. It took them from 300 hitters, or 275 and above, to 200 hitters, 210.
And nobody's saying you have to do it all the time, but a situation like this, as you say, it depends on the score, right? It's a 5-0 game. You need base runners to try and come back. Why wouldn't you take the automatic hit and give somebody a chance to hit a 3-run homer? And I understand the reluctance as Rosario smashes one to deep center. Back goes Inciarte. He'll have room, and he runs it down. Inciarte got a great jump on that ball going back. He doesn't win Gold Gloves for nothing. 2 out.
Yes, to be the devil's advocate, the only reason way I could find is Rosario covered this, but we've seen Inciarte. He plays as good as center field. I think he's just a notch below Lagares. I mean, he's real good. I think Lagares is a little quicker, a little faster.
But because he's the full-time player, he'll probably win another Gold Glove this year.
I think you're right. I was thinking as the devil's advocate, that's 28 games out of,
I totally understand.
Let him swing.
But I'm talking about, playing winning baseball next year.
Yeah, I got
right?
you.
And I understand the reluctance, especially if you are the big power hitter, right? That you don't want to, even if you have a chance for an automatic single, you don't want to give up the chance to hit the home run because that's what your team needs. But in a lineup that has more home run hitters in it, and virtually every lineup has those now because we're in that kind of era. It's hard to turn down an automatic base runner.
To me, if it's good enough for Anthony Rizzo, it's good enough for anybody.
Lagares is 2 for 2 today. And the slider off the plate to 1-1.
There's no Anthony Rizzo's here yet.
Evans at first with 2 out. This is now the deepest Sims has ever gone in a big league game, and he gets that breaking ball over for a strike. 1-2.
You would think that in this at bat, Lagares is going to see mostly sliders. Why? He saw 2 fastballs and he got 2 base hits up the middle. Swanson is shading a little more to his left than he was earlier. The earlier bats by Lagares.
And it's up the middle again. 3 for 3 on 3 base hits up the middle.
He went to the well again. He tried to throw another fastball by him.
Up and in. Very stubborn.
Lagares has found his sweet spot.
Nicely done, Juan.
I think you see the pitchers react like.
No, you know, the definition of insanity, right?
Yes.
Mets have 5 hits. Lagares has 3 of them, and that looks like it's going to be the end of the line for Lucas Sims. His longest big league outing. He goes 6 2/3. He's coming out with a 5-0 lead. We'll be right back. Ralph Vacchiano's reaction to yesterday's Jets win over the Dolphins, plus a look ahead at the upcoming matchup against the Jaguars on the jetsblog.com, featured on SNY.TV. 27-year-old Dan Winkler takes over the pitching for the Braves.
Well, see that sterling ERA in the last 10 appearances. Winkler's only given up a run 1 time.
How about that? 3 hits in 12 1/3 innings.
Big league. He's a guy that missed a lot of time because he made the opening day roster but fractured his elbow.
Mets have 2 aboard with 2 out. Evans at second, Lagares at first. Tomas Nido making his first big league start, gets his 3rd at bat. He's lined out to center and taking a call, 3rd strike. Goes after a first pitch cutter by Winkler, 0-1.
Good one.
As Drupal Cabrera has come out on deck, he'll pinch hit if Nido keeps the inning going against Winkler. making just his 13th appearance of the year. That's drilled toward the left field corner, back toward the wall, and off the fence. In to score is Evans. Waved home is Lagares. The relay throw will not be made. It's a two-run double for Tomas Nido, his first big league extra base hit, and it drives home a pair. 5-2 Atlanta.
Well done. Wants the ball away. I think it's down the middle. Hang and slide piece. And Nido covers it nicely off the T and Delta. 2 outs. Juan will be on his horse. Juan always hustles.
Well, they pulled Lucas Sims working on a shutout. It's a shutout no more. The 2 runs charged to him. Now Cabrera pinch hits. He gets jammed and floats one out for Albies in shallow right. That retires the side, but the Mets cash a pair on Tomas Nido's first big league double. 5-2 Atlanta after 7. No problem. Watch every SNY Mets game wherever you are on any device all season long with live streaming presented by Verizon. Just download the NBC Sports app or visit SNY.TV, your home for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. 8th inning at Citi Field. Kevin McGowan will be the 4th Met pitcher of the day.
He also pitched a couple days ago and got 2 outs in that 10-inning 3.5 hour affair.
He was the last of the 9 Met pitchers in that game, and he's back for more. Nick Markakis will lead off the 8th inning for the Braves. Mets getting on the board in the bottom of the 7th on Tomas Nido's 2-run double. Markakis has a 2-run double of his own. He hit that against Josh Smoker in the 6th inning to bring in the 2nd and 3rd runs of the day for the Braves.
Andy Fletcher
just back.
He had a little Eddie Money in between innings with Ronnie Spector.
Eddie Money, 2 tickets to paradise.
Yeah. Yes. Former NYPD. Former police officer, I believe.
Really?
Yes, I believe so.
Like before his
before.
music career?
I think
or
so.
after?
I thought I read that a long time ago when that hit came out.
New York or New Jersey? Might have been Jersey.
It was,
but I think you're right.
I think he was a police officer. Dave is looking it up.
Baby, hold on to me. Whatever will be, will be. That's Eddie Money, right?
Yeah, that's it. You got it. I think that's the stage name too. He's got a different Real name.
The real name's Eddie Cash.
Exactly. Windfall.
Eduardo
Middle
Cash.
name. Windfall, the middle name.
2-1 to Markakis. He was an NYPD trainee.
He was trainee.
He was on his way.
Okay,
he was
but
at the academy.
But then he had the big hit.
And
He didn't need it. Yes.
Traded in his badge for a gold record. Somebody calling for you?
I answered.
Well, you know, there's 9 to 5, and then there's 9 to 5. He opted for the second 9 to 5.
McGowan behind his first hitter, 3-1. Flowers and Ruiz to follow for the Braves. And he misses ball 4, so McGowan walks his first hitter. 5 walks for Met pitchers today. There's today's starters, brought to you by People's United Bank. Flexen had 5 good innings and then stumbled in the 6th. Lucas Sims had a shutout when he left the game, but just as was the case with Flexen, his bullpen allowed a couple of inherited runners to score. You know, I've always thought that should appear in the box score somewhere, right? I mean, you look at like Winkler.
Yeah.
He pitched a third of an inning, 1 hit, no runs.
That's right.
Well, but he gave up the 2 runs for the other guy. Shouldn't that appear in the box score somewhere?
I think it should be put next to that that H they love to give him, the hold. So right next to the H in the hold, you put a parentheses minus whatever number he gave up.
2, yeah.
That'll make the H even more absurd.
I just got a text from a dear old friend, Steve McPartland, an old Irishman. He said Eddie Money's real name was Eddie Mahoney.
Like Jerry Mahoney. Fly ball deep left field off the bat of Flowers, headed toward the wall, and that's out of here. Tyler Flowers with a long 2-run homer, his 12th of the year. And the Braves get those 2 runs back. It's now 7-2.
Yes. How are you? Yeah, I'm waving.
Second home run of the day for the Braves as Flowers goes deep.
Well, just like the pitch that Nito got to hit drive in 2 with a double, just a hanging slider from McGowan.
Those breaking balls hanging, they always seem to go a long way.
Big cut by Ruiz. So a walk and a 2-run homer, and the Braves are back to a 5-run lead.
Remember when it was hard to hit the ball over the Great Wall of Flushing? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I know Jason Bay remembers. I know David Wright remembers. I mean, do you think about Jason Bay arriving in New York and they were playing with the baseballs they're using now? You think his Mets career would have gone the same way?
No. I mean,
timing is everything.
And it escalated for Jason because, you know, just got so frustrated with the F7s.
Are they that much bigger and stronger than David Wright? I don't think so.
Two and two to Ruiz. And he hits one down the right field line. Aoki's not going to get to it, and it short hops the wall. Another extra base hit for the Braves as Ruiz pulls in with a double.
I think that Aoki, from what I've seen, he's got to get rid of that shallow positioning in right field. I know he hasn't got a great arm, and he likes to play shallow, but I'm sorry, it's a fly ball. It's got to be caught.
So McGowan's faced 3 batters, giving up a walk, a home run, and a double. And now Dansby Swanson is 1 for 3. And the Mets get further action going in their bullpen. Jacob Rame, the next man up. Braves only have 8 hits in this game, but 6 of the 8 have been for extra bases, 4 doubles and 2 home runs. Did Joe West do it again?
What?
Look who's not on camera 2.
Oh, Al's gone.
Matt has replaced Al on camera 2. What's that all about? Did he get kicked out again? What did he do this time? Hi, Matt.
It's double header. Al's, you know.
My only guess would be is that Al just has a tummy ache from all he eats down there. That's the only thing I could think it could be.
I mean, I know that, you know, the home plate umpire in one game of a doubleheader sits the other game. It's not. I mean, Al doesn't get the 8th inning off in doubleheader games.
I think he does.
Really?
It might be a union thing.
Well, we're in.
Well, you're not. You're not in the union.
Well,
yeah. I mean, you could be if you wanted to. Get you an acting gig here or there. Whatever Liev Schreiber doesn't want to narrate, you get it.
I think Peter Coyote's got me beat.
Okay, then you're the third guy.
Watch any of the Ken Burns Vietnam yet?
I haven't.
No,
yet.
I haven't.
I'm saving it to binge it.
I just watched the first episode. Awesome.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Okay, I figured it.
Great history.
I'm going to watch it when the season's over.
But that's Peter Coyote.
Yeah.
He does all the Ken Burns.
Well, you know what's interesting to me is that Ken's style, Ken Burns' style, is the beautiful music and narration over the stills, but it'll be less stills because you'll have live.
Well, the
video.
first episode is the 100 years before.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of stills in there, but yeah, I would imagine all the episodes beyond that are a lot of this. There's so much footage.
French colonialization, right?
Right.
Okay.
And all the missteps. McGowan just searching for an out. And Swanson gets a hold of one out to left center. Over comes Nimmo, and that's the first out of the inning. So one away. Ruiz still at second. The Porsche Tri-State dealers are proud sponsors of the New York Mets. See the new Panamera and the latest Porsche models at your local Tri-State dealership, or visit them on the web at PorscheTristate.com. Here's Jace Peterson, who doubled and scored a run in the 7th, 1 for 3 on the day. Don't forget, this is merely the opening act of a twilight doubleheader. Starting to get a little bit darker. 6:34 in the evening.
20 minutes in between games, folks.
Is that true?
Well, they think
Not
they aspire
really.
to that.
Oh, okay.
Usually ends up being more like
Pitcher
25 or 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I can get a little cat nap in.
You really think, amidst the hubbub that goes on in here between games of a doubleheader, that you're going to be sleeping?
I'm going to do my best. Just get a little 15-minute.
Do you have a secret room that you're retired to for these cat naps?
It's not secret at all.
I do it right here.
Here, but I've also seen you out in the the leather couches.
Yeah,
Oh, in the Foxwoods Club. But
this chair leans back, and I put my head right here. Ronnie leaves, and I go like this. And I'm like this, and I can sleep for 15 minutes. It's not easy.
Now I know why I have shoe marks on my scorecard.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's really comfortable because it's a little nook right here where my head can rest and be secure. So it works.
It's hard to sleep though when you know that Dave at some point is going to disappoint you with his ability to get the lineup in proper time.
Dave is a little agitated because you know who's pitching the second game for the Braves.
Oh, that's right.
Max Fried, his long lost relative or non-relative. The only Fried with apparently with athletic ability. Fly to left, and Nimmo comes in to get it. 2 out. Need your New York football fix? Get a full recap plus all the reactions from yesterday's Giants-Eagles game on SNY.TV, your online home for all things New York sports.
Congratulations, Gary. Your Jets yesterday.
Yes.
You know, there are a lot of Jet fans who are very perturbed that they won a game.
Why is that?
Because they wanted to go 0-16 and get the draft pick.
Oh, come on.
That's neurotic.
Matt Adams is the pinch hitter. No, I think it makes a lot of sense from if you take the long view.
Okay.
But, you know, it's hard to root against your own team.
Hard to go to the games and just see a loss too. But who's out there that's a must-have guy? I don't know.
I don't know enough about it to have any idea.
Keith, you would know.
No, I know I wouldn't. I would not.
Sam Darnold, USC quarterback.
Okay, they're 4-0.
Fried's telling me
They're
that.
4-0.
He knows about that stuff. Here's Matt Adams, 20 home runs this year. Was so hot when he first came over from the Cardinals that Freddie Freeman moved to third base for a while. Now Adams, who's been banged up coming down the stretch, part-time player once again. Nito faking the throw to second, but nobody covering.
Adams would be a guy that if you needed to plug in first base, might be a guy you'd be interested in thinking about trading for.
Oh, I think for a DH,
right?
It's a big, strong guy. Postseason experience, hit the home run off Kershaw.
That's right, the hanging hook.
Yep.
Big city. 6'3", 277.
Well, the Cardinals moved him because they were playing Matt Carpenter at first base, and they had Colton Wong, and they just didn't have space for Adams. That's popped up behind the plate. Nito coming back right to the screen and just beyond his reach.
Do you know you're laughing on air?
Yes.
Okay.
How come everybody's yelling at you, Keith?
I don't know. It's just like, I'm just trying to get through it here. Come on. Don't make it any tougher than it is.
Is it the same guy who keeps yelling? Or
Yeah, it's the same group.
Okay.
It's a bunch of 4 guys. Hey, guys.
See, you thought when you waved to them maybe they would stop, but now that you're just encouraging them.
Yes.
Well, my favorite was we were in Houston a number of years ago, and in the booth at Minute Maid Park, there are seats right in front. And a guy in the middle of an inning stood up holding a baseball card, turned around to face Keith, and just to say Keith aired him out on the air. Smith can't make the diving play, and that's going to bring home a run as Ruiz comes in to score. Adams has himself a pinch single just beyond the reach of Dominic Smith, and that makes it 8-2 Atlanta.
Just out of the reach of Big Dom. Oh, just tipped the glove.
Micah Johnson is going to run for Adams at first base. So Johnson at first with 2 out, 3 runs home in the inning against Kevin McGowan. And now he'll face Ender Inciarte, who doubled in a run his last time up. So this was a very tidy affair for the first 5 innings.
Yeah, well,
the 2 rookies, Chris Flexen and Lucas Sims, got off to fast starts. It was 1-0 after 5. But it's kind of The game is bloated in the late innings.
Always does when you get to the bullpens. It's an automatic. For various reasons. Not because they come in and they give up runs, but they walk a lot of people. They take their time.
Multiple pitching changes.
The pitching changes.
Well, 31 pitch innings, those don't help in this case.
There we go.
I'd say pops one up.
That'll do it.
Evans coming in to call for it. And that retires the side, but not before the Braves put up a 3 spot in the top of the 8th against McGowan. 8-2 Atlanta. Welcome to the deeper coverage of baseball presented by T-Mobile. Well, the AL Cy Young race, I think Corey Kluber might have wrapped it up last night.
Yeah. I mean, his numbers down the stretch have just been unbelievable.
Yes,
10-1 in his last 11 starts, 1.39 since August 1st.
Yesterday, 7 innings, no earned runs, 3 hits, 10 strikeouts against Seattle, which, by the way, ended the Mariners' postseason hopes, which makes it 16 straight years for Seattle, the longest current drought in baseball.
So they haven't been to the playoffs since they had the best record, one of the best records of all time, right? 116?
116 wins and lost in the LCS to the Yankees. Brett's brothers in to pitch for Atlanta. Nori Aoki is 0 for 3 today. Aoki, Reyes, and Nimmo for the Mets in the home 8th inning. Braves 8 runs, 9 hits. The Mets 2 runs, 6 hits. It's got both their runs in the 7th on a Tomas Nido 2-run double. Fastball away to Aoki, 2-0. Brothers had that one great year in Colorado.
He threw strikes that year because he always can strike you out if he throws the ball over the plate. He's got a great arm.
It was 2013. He had a 1.74 ERA that year in 72 appearances. And it looked like he was on his way to stardom. Charging is Swanson. The quick throw in time to get Aoki, 1 away.
Swanson's a good defensive player. You see Kershaw yesterday struck out 200 batters for the 7th time in his career. No one's done it more than that. Koufax and Drysdale did it 6. Sutton did it 5. Now, of course, Koufax was over 300 a few times.
So Keith and I were talking about the NL Cy Young race yesterday. I'd love for you to weigh in on it. I mean, you know, Kershaw missed 5 weeks, and Keith was talking about how he's wary about a pitcher who doesn't have, you know, 180 innings.
No,
in the Cy Young.
200. I know it's tough. I mean, you got to pitch.
Reyes cranks one out to left field. Peterson going back onto the warning track at the wall to make the catch. Actually was not as close to the wall as he thought he was.
His inexperience shined through. I just think someone with 150 innings get running, 160 innings shouldn't qualify.
Well, I think what's going to happen is, you know, Scherzer, who I think was the front runner. Do we agree with that? He was the front runner for a long time.
I think until Kershaw came back.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then, but also, if you look at that staff, Scherzer, Strasburg, and Gio Gonzalez have all had really good years, so they're going to all get some votes. I wouldn't be surprised if Kershaw steals it. 18-4 with a 2.21.
Well, I don't know if I'd even call that stealing it. I mean, he leads the league in ERA.
Not steal it, but I mean, it's hard to win the Cy Young when you had that much time off.
Right. Well, he's won 3 of them, and he certainly has a pretty good chance to win a 4th. Nimmo's 1 for 3 today, and he fouls one away, 1-1. Order of the game presented by Investors Bank, banking in your best interest, and that's from Tom Seaver. My job isn't to strike him out, it's to get him out. Of course, Seaver has 6 of the 10 highest strikeout seasons in Mets history.
I was going to say he did both. Struck him out while he was getting him out.
By the way, 6 of the 10 top strikeout seasons in Met history. The only other guys in that list are Gooden, Cone, and now
Jacob
DeGrom,
yeah,
who's now 9th on the all-time single season list after his 11 strikeout performance yesterday. 239 for the year. 1-2 coming, and Nimmo fouls it off. Well, this is the list we looked at yesterday with 3 Nats, Kershaw, Greinke, and Ray, and Jansen.
You know, until Kershaw came back and Max had the I'm going to say the pain in his neck. You know, he had the neck pain.
Missed 1 start.
And yeah, I think Kershaw could get it.
Tomorrow's starter.
There's a Cy Young Award winner. And I think the way people vote now, they don't vote like you and I think, Keith. And I know exactly what you're thinking. Is that you got to make 30 to 32 starts because that ensures that your team, you've been out there every 5th day. There's honor in that. That's not how the voters vote anymore. While you were out there, what did you do? Well, while he was out there, struck out 200, 18-4 with a 2.21.
Well,
18-4 is impressive.
It is, and but to me, I mean, Kershaw missed 5 weeks, and Bryce Harper's missed 6.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, nobody's talking about Harper for the MVP anymore.
Agreed.
Right?
Good
Those
point,
numbers are MVP numbers. That's lined right to Albies, and that retires the side. So it's an interesting conversation. I think both of those races are going to be hard fought. Go to the 9th, 8-2 Atlanta. Gary, I look forward to seeing the diversification of your game. We already know you have the passing game down.
You know him, steady Eddie defense, calling all the picks out.
You think?
Oh yeah, he's calling all the picks.
I can't.
He's directing people as he's dribbling the ball, trying to slow it down a little bit in case he's got some older players who, are running out of gas.
Shane Battier is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Jacob Brame pitching the 9th inning for New York.
And he has like the perfect gym shorts, socks just pow, beautiful new sneakers.
Only, nobody keeps himself in better shape.
Exactly.
And Albies has to vacate. 2-1. Coming up tonight, after the second game and the second post game, it's Geico Sports Night.
You don't sound too excited about that.
It's a lot of basketball in there. Down the left side toward the tarp and out of play. I'm just glad Doug McDermott's coming to New York. That's exciting to me.
Yeah.
I loved watching him in college.
Well,
3,000 point scorer at Creighton.
I think it's media day for the Knicks tomorrow, so they'll be able to answer why they got rid of Melo. Although you knew it was going to happen, I guess.
Grounded to the right side, and Reyes in front of it. 1 out. By the way, I'm glad to see that Al is back from purgatory.
Yeah.
Apparently was not ejected.
No tummy ache?
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe it was a union break, or maybe Joe West just gave him some time off.
He's nodding his head. It was.
There's Freddie Freeman. And takes a slider for a strike. Well, the Braves have 8 runs, and Freeman has contributed nothing. Not too many days like that for Atlanta. Freddie's gone 0 for 4, hasn't had the ball out of the infield. And Rames skips one in, 1-1. So there's Matt, who took over for Al on camera 2, and now he's going to go sub on another camera.
He's like Ben Zobrist. I mean, he just goes from camera to camera. Guys get their break.
Going to take over for Rob on camera 6.
Okay.
Nice. See, Rob actually keeps his hands on the camera.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Al does it by like brainwaves.
Well,
Yeah.
all Al does is shoot the field. And, he follows the ball once in a while. But basically he's got one angle. He just shoots right down. That's it, folks. Isn't it?
Oh, no, see, now he's showing you he can shoot up.
No, there you go. There's Al.
Now he's coming down.
That's Al on camera 2.
Not even that great of a shot, to tell you the truth.
Al is not going to move his camera now. He'll be right there.
Taking you behind the curtain.
And I've been told number camera 2 is the most important camera of the group. I find that hard to believe. I think you kind of put the Scrubini over there in camera 2.
Wow. Line the other way. That's a fair ball going into the corner. And Freeman has struck for the first time today. He's got himself a 1-out double in the 9th.
It almost feels like the good hitters when they are 0 for 4, in this case Freddie 0 for 4. Not a good day. Hasn't looked good at the plate. 2 strikeouts. Bear down on that last at bat and keep the doctor away. Keep that little black hole, and you get that number 1 up there. 1 hit.
Well, every Brave starter has at least a hit today. In fact, each starter had exactly 1 hit.
And a pinch hitter is a hit.
There you go.
Wow.
10 hits by 10 different players. Now Nick Markakis, who's delivered 2 runs, a double in the 6th inning. He's also walked and scored a run. Seth Lugo will start game 2 of the doubleheader for the Mets. Our special guest in the booth yesterday.
Yeah, it's nice to see that he's, trying to take charge and do some good things for the people in Puerto Rico.
Well, there's so much that needs to be done, and so many of the players who have roots there, Carlos Beltran, Yadier Molina, and so many others are trying to get as much assistance there as possible. I mean, we're talking about an island where 80% of the agriculture has been destroyed, where all the power has been out, where there's no food, no water in vast swaths of the island. We're talking about 3.5 million American citizens who are in dire straits right now. And anything that anybody can do to help is greatly appreciated. In the dirt to Markakis, and it's 3-1. And Rame walks Markakis, and the Braves have 2 men on. Well, game 2 is coming up right after game 1.
Are you sure?
As night follows day.
Are you sure?
As night follows twilight. Oh. Dan Warthen out to talk to Jacob Rame. It has not been a fun afternoon for the Mets bullpen. It was a 1-0 game when the bullpen entered. Josh Smoker allowed 3 inherited runners to score. Eric Goodell gave up a run in his inning. Kevin McGowan allowed 3 runs in his inning. And Rame has given up a double and a walk here in the 9th. And now it's Flowers, who had a 2-run homer in the 8th inning his last time up. Dusk is arriving in the big city. Sinker misses for ball 1. That's going to face another rookie starter in the nightcap today with Max Fried. In the last 20 years, there have been only 2 other occasions where the Mets have faced 2 rookie starters in a doubleheader. And the first 2 times, the 2 rookies in question went on to have pretty substantial careers. 2006, they played the Marlins in a doubleheader. They faced Josh Johnson and Ricky Nolasco. 2011, they played the Braves in a doubleheader. They faced Mike Minor and Julio Teheran. So if Lucas Sims and Max Fried can have careers as lengthy as that quartet, then that would be something. One two coming. And it's up and into Flowers, 2-2, and Rame really having trouble commanding his fastball.
He's letting it go. I mean, 96 miles an hour is a nice number. 0-2, 1-2 is a better number.
Freeman at second, Markakis at first, and the breaking ball down, 3-2. Pitchers have already walked 6 this afternoon into this evening. Never know with those 4 o'clock games. Afternoon, evening.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we started as a day game. Now we're finishing as a night game.
Well, as I said this afternoon at one point in this broadcast, I looked up and I saw it was 6:05, and I'm like, I'm wrong. It's nighttime. So
we're not long for daylight savings time, are we? Around, a month. Okay, fine, truck, but that's not very long. I hate when they switch back and it gets dark at what, 5:30, whatever the heck it does.
We have passed the equinox. So inside, ball 4. So a double and 2 walks given up by Rame, and that's now 7 walks for Met pitchers today. SNY Super Slow Motion brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. And another bases loaded chance for the Braves. Rio Ruiz has already delivered a sacrifice fly and a double today, 1 for 2. The Braves as a team came into the day with a team batting average of 263, but with the bases loaded, 330. It's a very aggressive team. The Braves coming into the day had drawn the fewest walks of any team in the National League. They had also struck out the fewest times of any team in the National League. But today they've walked 7 times.
You don't let the count get deep. You're not going to strike out.
First pitch changeup, and Ruiz out in front, 0-1. Well, Kevin McGowan had a 32-pitch 8th inning, and now Jacob Rame heading in that same direction here in the 9th. There's nobody up behind him in the bullpen. It's up to him to finish this off. Fly ball out to right center. That'll get a run in as Freeman tags at third. Aoki makes the grab. Freeman comes down the line to make it 9-2. Second sacrifice fly of the day for Rio Ruiz. So now 2 out of 2 on. Here's Dansby Swanson, an infield hit in 4 at bats.
Here come the planes. They're playing.
You're losing it. Keith, this is your own fantasy island.
1-1 to Swanson. Jason Mott getting ready to pitch the bottom of the 9th for Atlanta. Ooh. Off the glove of Rame, he chases it down, and his throw just in time to beat Swanson. He threw a changeup to first base, but he gets the out to end the inning.
Not allowed to challenge this call because of the Geneva Convention.
Doesn't mean they won't, by the way. 9-2. Bud Light, famous among friends. By Empire City Casino, real people, real money, real deal. You could be the next big winner. By Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. Visit us at titosvodka.com. And by MTA Bridges and Tunnels, cashless tolling is here. Get Easy Pass today to save up to 50% on tolls. We go to the last of the ninth, which might be a little delayed from what you might have thought, because while we were away, believe it or not, Brian Snitker challenged the call at first base, so we were a little delayed getting the Mets off the field and the Braves back on. Dansby Swanson
9-2
first.
9-2 game, folks. 9-2. And remember, this started with just video, the challenges for home runs. That's where this behemoth has what it's become.
But you know what happens? Even though it's a 9-2 game, if you're the manager and you have it within your wherewithal to get your player a hit, it's almost as though they feel that they owe it to the player to use the challenge.
How about if the official scorer dropped an E1 on him after he challenged it?
How about the shots we had in commercial of all the couple of the fans asleep?
David Freitas is now catching. Jason Mott is now pitching as we go to the last of the ninth.
Mott, of course, had some brilliant years in St. Louis as their closer, setup man, arm injury, and just trying to stay with it.
Phil Evans leads off in the last of the ninth, takes a fastball for a strike. Evans drew a walk and scored a run in the seventh. He's 0 for 2 on the day. Dominic Smith on deck, and then Ahmed Rosario for the Mets. Get a little exhausted chronicling the ways in which the Mets pitching has struggled this year, but here's another. It's the 24th time this year that the Mets pitching staff has given up at least 9 runs in a game. 24. Last year, the whole season, 10.
Well, it's been a lot of quite a unique season. Let's just put it that way. A lot of bad stuff happened. Well, with injuries and such.
To me, though, you're talking about a pitching staff that, under Dan Warthen's tutelage, year after year, was able to hold down the number of walks, and I think that's what has been most different about this staff compared to past years.
Well, you know, it's hard to compare because, you know, all the big guns. You know, Syndergaard's not going to walk anybody if he makes 30 starts this year, but he didn't. You know, it's for me, it's hard for me to fault Dan Warthen with the people that you're putting out there.
I wasn't even slightly.
No, I'm not saying you were
faulting Dan.
Yeah.
I was just saying that it's amazing that, you know, the same tutelage that has led to incredibly precise pitching is now gone in an entirely different direction.
Well, what happens a lot of times, Gary, if guys are brought up who are just not quite ready, okay? You've had some underperformances, of course, by your core guys. But if you bring up some guys that just aren't quite ready, invariably, and I was one of those guys early in my career, you end up nibbling a lot. And if you nibble, you're going to walk a lot of hitters. And if you walk a lot of hitters, damage is going to be done. And that's what you've seen this year. You know, unless you have the ability to get out of innings, or your stuff's good enough to get out of innings. You know, that's, I think, the relievers we've seen come in this year so far, you know, are not of the strikeout variety. So it's hard to make up for walks when you can't punch people out, because the ball's going to be put in play. When the ball's put in play, anything can happen.
0-2 to Dom Smith after Evans struck out to start the inning.
.95 from Mott. Impressive. Always had that, a lot of rosin on the back of his cap.
And he strikes out Smith. Back-to-back strikeouts for Mott to start his stint. Third time Dom has struck out tonight. And the Mets are down to their final out.
Got a little zip on the ball today, does Jason Mott.
That ball upstairs is giving Dominic a lot of trouble, and my suggestion would be go back to hitting line drives.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Rosario, who's 0 for 3 on the day. Flied out deep to center field his last time up. Snagged nicely by Mott, and he makes the play, and that'll do it for game 1 of the doubleheader. Mott works a 1-2-3 ninth. The Braves batter the Mets bullpen and win the opening game of the doubleheader 9-2.
Well, all Braves. 2 home runs hit. Albies his 5th. Flowers his 12th.
Chris Flexen really good for 5 innings. He matched up in a pitcher's duel with Lucas Sims, but then Flexen cracked. So did the Mets pen. Game summary presented by Ram. Mets lose their 90th game of the season as the Braves take the opener of the doubleheader 9-2. Coming up, it's game 2 of the doubleheader just a few minutes away. Seth Lugo makes the game 2 start for the Mets, and the lefty rookie Max Fried will pitch for the Braves. Now for Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Citi Field. We'll be back in just a few minutes after WB Mason postgame live here at Gary and Nelson in the studio.